There's something about using a blaster from an iconic film like Star Wars, Star Trek, or even Galaxy Quest that always grabbed my attention as a child. I have fond memories of the first realistic-looking toy blaster I ever got. There was just something about holding a toy gun from an intergalactic universe that set the stage for an adventure unlike any other. Fast forward 20 years, through a litany of science fiction storytelling, and we find ourselves in a time where VR can take me to the next era of sci-fi experience. This takes us right into my review of Space Pirate Trainer by Eye Illusions on the PSVR. Space Pirate Trainer is a wave-based shooter offering multiple modes of play, along with numerous weapon types, enemies, and power-ups to boot. As you may have imagined from the title, the setting is a futuristic sci-fi shooting range sharpening your space pirating skills. Which of course means, well, I'm not exactly sure what it means, but I have a theory, but more on that later. Let's blast our way through some details. Space Pirate Trainer offers some well-done firefights and truly immerses you into this simulation. You're equipped with 2 handguns and a shield, but these weapons come with additional features you might not see on your average sidearm. Each gun is identical, but can alternate the type of firing scheme with a simple click of the triangle button for each hand respectively. Different gun modes include a single fire shot, offering more power and accuracy than, say, the automatic setting, or maybe a grenade launcher, lobbing a grenade into the air, detonating with a second trigger pull. And that's just the beginning. The shield itself is another interesting addition to the mechanics of this game, offering a defense aspect to this wave-based shooter at the sacrifice of one of your robot-destroying sidearms. But this is no ordinary shield, combining 2 different modes for defense and even attack. The standard shield offers a pulse wave that can be sent into a herd of oncoming enemies, sending enemy fire in all different directions and repulsing enemies nearby, giving you a chance to open fire. With the press of a button, however, your shield is transformed into a mace-like grapple laser weapon. I know, that description is weird, but let me know if you come up with a better one. The mace grapple laser offers an interesting grapple mechanic, allowing you to lasso enemies and hurl them into the ground for a quick kill, or pull them in for a quick slice of your laser. The grapple can also be used to activate nearby turrets to help you in a tight spot. While this mode offers less defense than the standard shield mode, you're still able to block oncoming laser fire with this baton, and can even send them right back at these robo-thugs like a Jedi in the making. If you couldn't tell already, one of my favorite aspects to Space Pirate Trainer is the variability in gameplay based on whatever weapon loadout you choose at any given moment. It makes for some really engaging and vigilant gameplay, and keeps me playing round after round as each variation plays just a little bit differently. Overall, there really isn't much to complain about here, but you have to know what you're getting into. Yes, indeed, this is another wave shooter. But if you've enjoyed any wave shooter before it on the PSVR, this will be no exception, and it might even be the rule to the genre. That said, there were a few issues I had during my playthrough. One of the issues I had while playing this game involved the invisible barrier showing you where you are within the bounds of the PS4 camera. While on one hand, the visual aesthetic of this is highly satisfying, the barrier itself seemed to be a bit more limited than I have experienced within other wave shooters. This might strictly be due to the visual response seen on screen. Often, I would lift my arms to fire at an enemy overhead, but found that I would frequently reach outside the bounds of play. This is certainly an error on my part, but the added visual response to the barriers seems to inhibit my ability to aim at all if I am even close to the edges of the play area. My best explanation to this would be that it becomes a visual hindrance to your line of sight. It's cool when you're just looking at it, but when you're trying to shoot at somebody and it becomes a rather large spot that's right where you're trying to fire, it can kind of get in the way. The truth here though is that I really loved this aesthetic. It was a really nice addition to the gameplay, so overall this is a rather minimal complaint at best. Another issue I had is with the gun sights themselves. Both sight options seem more difficult to use than simply hip firing, using the laser sight provided on specific weapon modes as your guide. This again is minimal, as I often found the laser sight to be highly accurate and in many ways a preferred method of gameplay. Finally, the last hiccup is when switching from your gun to a shield, or vice versa. While I love the mechanic of reaching over your shoulder to make the switch, I often found it difficult to switch back from a shield to my firearm. This could simply be due to user error, but after trying multiple different ways of accomplishing this task, I didn't seem to have much luck in easing the switch. But ultimately, these complaints are minute compared to the fun I had while playing wave after wave of this high-strung shooter. As always, I played this game on an original PS4, and the graphics, they look great. The robot drones showed solid detail along with the barrage of blaster fire that would fly past my vision at any moment. The platform around you is stellar, with a futuristic space speeder and station adding to the environment. If only I could drive it. My only complaint with the visuals here are in the visible distance of the environment. While the backdrop is a cool futuristic scene, it lacks true depth and displays as a blurry, still, two-dimensional image simply placed behind the waves of enemies. Honestly though, you're hardly going to notice this, as you're going to be focused on the waves and waves of enemies at your doorstep. Alright, let's tie this all in here. Remember when I mentioned that using a real-life blaster was sort of a fantasy of mine as a kid? Well, they nailed it here. The haptic feedback combined with amazing tracking and heart-pounding sound effects make for one hell of a simulation, and really make for an immersive experience. My only issue with the experience itself is really that I wanted more of it. I can only imagine what these blaster types and effects would be like on a well-thought-out sci-fi adventure title. It would be amazing. My theory, which is really more of a hope at this point, is that developers Illusions titled this Space Pirate Trainer with plans to incorporate these game mechanics into a full-fledged story. And if they hadn't intended that before, I hope I can be the nudge in the right direction. Space Pirate Trainer has become an instant classic in my VR catalog, and will be on display alongside other great titles this holiday season as I show the magic of VR to friends and family alike. If you've ever enjoyed a wave shooter, I promise you will enjoy this one. Heck, if you're like me, you may even prefer it to the rest. And at its current retail value, this is a must-play for any PSVR owner out there.